Welcome to Unmuzzled Chat. James, well, we got a very special guest today. I guess the first time we have a cute little fluffers here, Bourbon Bear. And we also have a beautiful Priscilla.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Priscilla has been extremely vulnerable with me today on a phone call, and I just felt, holy cow, I just felt impressed to pose a challenge and an opportunity for her to come on here today and share some of the things she's going through. And my jaw hit the floor when she pretty much accepted, and here she is. So I want to commend you for your strength and for your selflessness to be here in a very vulnerable state, like amongst extremely challenging, painful, like relational experience that you've shared with me. I want to help.
Thanks.
And I'm sure a lot of people in this world also can resonate with what you're going through and would also want to help. So I hope Unmuzzled can effectively, I know we're in the beginning stages, we're just growing our legs, but we can and hopefully bring light to what a community, what we could achieve. So I don't know if you want to open up telling us a little about yourself or just dive right into what you're going through, whatever you feel comfortable with.
Well, just a single gal that wears her heart on her sleeve and has kind of experienced trauma from family and relationships. And it's just kind of, I'm just getting kind of jaded, just having a lot of like existential thoughts lately on what is the point, of like doing well or being good. It doesn't seem like it's worth it sometimes when you're so vulnerable to being taken advantage of and hurt. So that's the headspace right now. I just uncovered that the past like 14 months of something I thought was very real was something very manipulative and toxic and very unhealthy and turned out to be really dangerous. So I'm scared and sad.
Yeah, relationships. I mean, I used to classify it all the greatest challenges we will experience in this life. And that resonated with so many people. It was interesting. In a way, though, it was my, I guess, wiring. It was my choice, because essentially I was putting all this trust and reliance and faith essentially in faulty humans around me, whether it be my family, friends, and relationships. So in a way, I was setting myself up for my own failure. So at the time before, and it's a forever work, I'm sure, when in the midst of other challenges futuristically, undoubtedly I myself will also experience this very narrative could be challenged. But it was interesting once I kind of stepped back and realized, oh my gosh, this is where the spiritual realm is so important. Like if I actually put my faith and trust in God, it was me and my faulty wiring in a way that made, let's say, relationships being that number one line item to being the greatest challenge I experienced. But so when I put trust and faith in God, all of a sudden that dropped down the priority list. All of a sudden the Lyme disease I faced with became the greatest challenge. My financial burdens were even more so challenging, and sharing the message, helping others, became even a greater challenge. So it's interesting how it reshifted everything. But I digress. I don't mean to take away, because the reality of your situation, like your feelings are valid, and what you're going through is a great challenge in and of itself that I wouldn't wish on anyone either, like to be treated. And yeah, you want to share some of that?
Sure. So I don't know, where do we begin. Uh has to do with like narcissistic abuse and being isolated in a relationship and uncovering um, just infidelity, and then not being able. So it's just like being captive to cruelty, kind of. And Bourbon Bear does not like any of it. But yeah, when I tried to leave, it was so much manipulation, so much lie, and I think people think that they're stronger than they are when their heart's not involved. But when you see
Yes. You're right.
goodness in someone that doesn't have goodness, it's a conflict, right? Like I'm struggling to understand how someone that I cared about and loved wasn't all these things because I had never seen anything, and it was like when I saw what was going on, I felt like I was in a simulation or something, or just that it was like a Jekyll and Hyde, like that can't be that person, right? And so you get like inundated with enough proof, and you're just like, wow, I don't know anything that I thought that I knew.
Mm.
So that part's hard. Come here, buddy.
Does he like sitting on your lap?
He does. He wants attention for days.
Hi.
Attention for days.
Oh my goodness. This is a very positive distraction. Like we've already touched on between you and I, these little companions for fluffers are experts at two things we crave in this life, which is like unfailing love,
Unconditional love.
unconditional, and loyalty.
I heard once that the best way to describe a dog is to spell it backwards.
Oof,
God.
that's cool. I
Yeah.
have not heard that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, because they're really the embodiment of like wag more, bark less, you know. They have I feel like it's kind of like that Ted Lasso show with like Be a Goldfish. They have the reset clock of just like, I'm fine now, you know, let's go play kind of thing. And I don't feel like they harvest ill will. You can see like abused animals, and they can still, for the most part, be rehabilitated with some love. Like those videos always catch me on Instagram where it's like, look at how we found this dog, you know, mangled and
Right,
Paris,
yeah.
and then you see them a year later after being fed and cared for, and they're just thriving. So that's
Bless.
kind of, I feel like
Mm.
this one's my lifeline, because I'm just like, be more like Bourbon Bear.
Yeah, the more us humans, we got a lesson to learn right there. And what do they say dogs are equivalent to in human years? Like 4?
Yeah, there were studies showing that it was like 7 years per human,
Or
but
intelligence. Like
oh,
intelligence.
yeah, something like their nose has about 10,000 more sensors than our
Mm.
nose, but their heart beats 3 times or something as fast as ours does, so that's why their lifespan is shorter.
Oh,
But the
wow.
smaller they are, the longer they stick around. So I've read, because that's really their only fault, is that they don't stay around for a while.
It's actually cute because with his, what he's saying is he wants to go play with Moose.
He does. I feel like we should like open the door to that, because he's not gonna be less vocal.
I mean, if you want, we could even try to get Moose in here and get
Yeah.
them settled. Yeah, hang on.
Yeah. Bourbon, you stay right there. Bourbon Bear.
Moose! Come on, up. I guess this will be Moose's debut as well.
Yeah, this is and now they can just play and frolic.
Welcome, Moose, everyone. This is Moose. Oh my goodness. Can we get you settled by chance?
It's just the tail wagging is, you know.
To those that are just listening, I do apologize. You may want to tune in and watch this segment via YouTube or Rumble.
Basically,
especially to
2
you dog
puppies
lovers.
in love.
Yeah, and they're going to start knocking over equipment. Hey, Moose, go lay down. Good girl, Moose. Hi. now? Are you scared? Oh.
Oh boy.
Moose, come lay down. Or you just want a higher angle. This should resonate all right with some dog lovers. But
we shouldn't trust people that don't love dogs, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I
know
mean,
when people are like, I don't like dogs or pizza, I'm like, you're not my kind of people.
wow. I mean, there's a commitment to it and responsibility.
Yeah.
And what a refreshing concept. So many people are trying to avoid that in this life. And with dogs, to their own detriment.
You can't avoid it.
Yeah, because they're missing out on the love they have to offer.
Yeah.
A lot of blessings. Is that now you satisfied?
It's so funny. It's like I want the dog. I want the dog. I got the dog. I don't want the dog anymore.
Grass is always greener. I'm telling you, there's lessons that could be had with these amazing critters. And the more I feel us humans can effectively live out of love for one another from all different walks of life and everything, like how much more blissful are we just going to make this existence on behalf of everyone? But that being said, sometimes like to really enjoy the good moments, also the darkness and the hard moments, give value to that. So it's just really challenging to have that mindset, especially in a moment of heartache and certain challenges. That's where, man, I'm so excited to have you on because, I mean, you're in the midst of that challenge, and I mean, we already said, like, I could hear it in your voice and what have you. Like, you are stronger than you know. Especially, you team up with our Savior. You got this.
It's like, I think God's the only one that can understand. I feel like people that I talk to, they just haven't been, fortunately, exposed to like traumatic abuse and violence, and so you don't like know how to help somebody if you don't, you don't have those kind of tools. So sometimes I just like sit and kind of beg for help because, it almost feels like if you sit and ask God for help, there's a better chance that He will help you versus, a network that hasn't been exposed to any of that.
Right.
And now the dogs are making out, so that's cute.
It's so cute. I'm just happy because she's happy seeing her tail wagging. Mush. Go, girl. Hey, go lay down. Go lay down. Go on. Man, it's so tough. Like, that's where in relationships it's so important to obviously, like, out the gate, and I'm so guilty myself where I don't I'll admit it. I'll look kind of, like what I see on the outside and this and that, and I will, what's the word for it? I will make exceptions and what have you on some core values.
Yeah.
Like,
same.
And there'll be red flags, and I tend to ignore them, and then it ends up like fast forward, and I'll even have people in my life that I didn't necessarily listen to that could have saved me some of that time and pain and heartache and all those things. But I mean, we make those decisions, we end up, hey Moose, my goodness, what are you doing? Hey, come lay down. Come on. Lay down. Good girl. Sit. Lay down. No. Lay down. Good girl. Stay. Stay. Good girl. This is too fun. Some people probably eat it up. Oh. that did not last very long. And some people are just there rolling their eyes like, you better. We're already tuning out until you come out with the edited edition of this episode.
Right. Well, I think it's important for them to understand like that's my little lifeline. So I just have like a kind of a codependency now on him because he very much bounces off my energy, and so
Right.
he keeps me accountable because if I'm super sad, he feels it, and so it's not like I'm using him, it's like we're using each other, right? I have to show up for him
Yes.
healthy and vibrant and happy because then he is healthy and happy and vibrant, and I don't think that there's anything better than a happy puppy.
Personally, I wouldn't have it any other way. Like every time you come through this is a welcome lap dog. Moose doesn't get to sit on my lap very often.
Even spritzed a little men's cologne on him, you know.
Oh, no kidding. That's too cool. Yeah, it's making Moose needs a bath. Good girl. Yeah, it's so crazy. Cuz some of the things you did share, it's like you're experiencing evil, people that don't have the same morals and values that you said it yourself, that you wear your heart on your sleeve, and he just seems to me took advantage of that. And things have been hard. I mean, you mentioned that there was a level you found out of infidelity, and I mean, what do you suppose, like, you would caution some folks with, like, signs, flags, anything to
I would recommend
help people with
everybody,
that?
absolutely everyone, to just kind of get on Google and
Oh, yeah,
you know, do reverse phone number searches,
Oh, wow.
search parcel lot numbers, search arrest records. Like
Mm.
if you're dating someone, you'll know like probably where they went to school and what they do for a living. A big red flag I think for me is there's no social media with the person. Like they're like, "Oh, I don't do social media." Some people don't, but to me, I've found that that is like a red flag, or it's like, oh, okay, so they do have a level of secrecy. I feel like the harder that they are to find online is indicative of a pattern of behavior. I went on to find so much as an internal affairs investigation in a different state where they were a former police officer and internal affairs was going to discipline them, but they resigned instead. And the investigation was actually about, you know, intimidating women, scaring women, using like authority to manipulate women. So this is, you know, this was something like 10 or 13 years ago. So it's something clearly a pattern of abuse, but also just be mindful of just their behavior around their cell phone. Like, is it super secretive? Is it always like going to the bathroom? Is it always like, you know, never out? I think like that's indicative too. And then I would just caution to just kind of be vigilant, right? Just look at their behaviors, look at like what they hide, or they're hiding their trash, or they, you know, very controlling. And you could say all that and more, but I you know, saw the best in someone and then, you know, ended up having to get a protection order because oh, puppies go.
Moose, yeah. Come on. No. Come on. Moose. Good girl. Wow, really? So, that is like a worst case scenario, right? I mean,
yeah, I mean, there was one instance that really truly scared me, and I think like having the dog on camera, if anybody's watching, they can see it's a small angel baby. And
yes.
I was on vacation when I found out the most of it, and then I wanted to change my flight. and he didn't let me, and he stole my credit cards and my passport and didn't want me to leave, and I got truly scared because I wanted to leave. So I kept trying to change my flight on the phone with American Airlines and was going into different rooms, and I would lock them with the dog, and he would just come after me with a butter knife to like open the doors saying, "This is my vacation. I paid for it."
Oh
And
my
so
gosh.
when you're in a situation like that, it gets kind of scary. And so I did end up calling the police, but he did one thing where I think I just, I don't know how mothers feel because I'm not a mom, but there was a feral animal warrior in me because he tried to hurt my dog. He opened
Oh
the
my gosh.
door into the street and wanted him to run into traffic. And I just knew right then and there, like, that this person, because the dog obviously trusts someone for a year's time. And I just felt like in that moment I saw, like, you know, Lucifer in the flesh kind of thing. Like, who would do that? I mean, hurt me all you want. Like, I can at least defend myself, but a dog? I was like, no way. So, um, yeah, really, if I were to give advice to anybody, is just do your research. Like, if it was like your own child or brother or sister, just people are, um, they're not all good.
Right. Oh my gosh. I'm shocked to hear some of them details because,
Yeah, that one I hadn't said before.
well, yeah, it's like I could only imagine as to a response with the threat to, yeah, viewing my dog as, hey, is a single adult, pretty much my kin, right?
Yeah.
And what would my reactions be, this and that? Wow.
Like, what would you do if that was happened to you? I know, like, the dog is much bigger, but
On
just
camera, off camera, does my answer change? I wonder. I pity the man that comes between. I
Yeah.
mean, 100%.
Yeah.
Like that's what it boils down to, right? But I also do view animal life on a whole different level than human life. That isn't mistaken with me. God forbid, but I believe it was on Charlie Kirk's podcast where an example was given, and it made me actually think. And it's, you really don't know. It's hard to come up with a truthful, and like, it's just one of those things, you'll act how you act in a God forbid type of scenario. But yeah, God forbid your dog. The analogy that was kind of thrown out there was, uh, your dog's drowning, and there's another human drowning. Like, it kind of makes it easy if you say a child. You only can save one. You only have time and energy to save one. Who do you save? And for me, without question, I save the child. My dog drowns.
I wouldn't have the same answer.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I don't,
I don't.
on a personal level, like, do not get me wrong, like, that would be an extremely challenging moment, right? And it would be so heart-wrenching. But I believe these animals, these critters are, like it talks about it in the Bible, is to, they're put here for man. It's like, and it kind of leads into a whole other discussion because I do believe they have like a soul in a way too, that they are going to be there, but it's it's not, we are made in God's image. This animal isn't, right? It's not talked about in that nature, right? So I, with that being said, it's just a no-brainer to me. I think we've become such a self-serving culture and society to where a lot of people would be like, I'm going to save that animal. But that's a selfish move. Like, what at the end of that, what does God see as happy? I mean, yes, you did a selfless act to an extent, and you say, but it was selfish in your choice, more so than saving one of your brothers and sisters because they're another fellow child or son of God.
Well, that,
It becomes
yeah,
more
it
challenging though
does.
if we change that child to an elderly gentleman that, oh, how much time they got left, when it's like your pup. It becomes tougher in that. But even in that, for me, I wouldn't be left questioning saving the the human life, no matter what, than the animal life. The animal life would forever have me questioning, did I do the right decision? And it isn't my judgment. It isn't mankind's judgment. It by God's. Like, what is he frowning upon, or what is he excited? That's what's important, right? To me, it's an interesting one to think about. Wow.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think like why I would answer the way that I did, but I think like I know like I don't have family around and very like
Mm,
few friends, and the first experience I ever had with death was only 3 years ago. Like I don't know anybody who's died,
oh
which
my
I think
gosh.
is great, but also like it's not set up for success here for how old I am, and then I've never like been to a funeral or known anybody has
Really?
died. So,
That is a blessing thus far to an extent, but the one of the humbling truths, all of us as we go down that path, which we kind of covered, are going to start experiencing that more and more and more.
yeah, which is
And
scary.
two close friends of mine, it's no secret on this even podcast, two close friends of mine within the last month weren't just like uh you know passing over, like they were tragically taken. Like
Oh,
it was shocking. Like, and I plug, hey, everyone be safe on those roads and this and that, because there is it's a dangerous activity.
I
We
know it was an
do.
accident just up
Oof,
here. I
on
was
your
like,
way
oh my
over.
goodness,
Yeah.
it was 4 cars. I was just like,
Oh my
wow,
goodness.
I'm in the broad daylight. So
Right. So you can't be, and I love spreading awareness like that to potentially have a positive effect, and people sitting down their phones and staying alert and whatever. But um, it's just a humbling truth. I don't know what really sent us down. It'll be interesting replaying this. What sent us down this road, and obviously refine myself to, oh man, I know futuristically now I could I wish I could jump in this moment and take the conversation over here. But I'm human.
mhm.
We're human, and it's just beautiful to be here and communicate with you. You're a beautiful woman. You're very intelligent. You're very in tune. You're well spoken, and it is a pleasure, even with all the
The
doggy,
wags.
yeah, the
Thank
butt
you.
wags. This has been really awesome. Um, but trying to get a little more back on point. Dogs. I mean, I guess what's important, like, that we grow our faith, we strengthen our faith, but we also surround ourselves with like minded folks. Because I have been blessed the more I've gone down the spiritual road and I'm seeking this refinement for myself. God has put people like yourself and others in my life that is having a strengthening effect to where, that companionship's always going to stay just as special. It's not going to change between me and my dog, but like there has been more of, because you kind of said like it's almost with you solely, but he can fulfill and put people like-minded folks where you kind of have that community and strength, and it's a hard, painful, lonely walk to be doing this kind of on your own. I've been there in ways. I'm still there, and it's tough because especially going through what you just went through. um hmm, you're It's harder to put that trust back in people and stuff. That's where I would just.
Yeah, I think that reflects my answer too. Like I think that, as everything was happening, it was, we were 12 hours away by plane from home, and that was immediately like who I needed to protect. And I think, he didn't stop shaking for almost 2 hours. And um, I think that did something to me because I'm his owner, I'm his little fur mom, and as much as I don't want to blame myself for, it's almost like a stepfather relationship taking advantage of a little girl kind of thing. And the wife would be like, I did that to my daughter. Like, I put her in that danger. It's like, you didn't know any better, right? You were in love with someone that you had no idea could do such horrible things. And then it's like kind of a guilt trip, right? And so now I feel like I'm like overcompensating because I don't want anything bad to happen to him, because something bad did happen to him and to me.
Right.
But I'm kind of selfless, so I don't really think about I should think about myself more often. Right now I'm like thinking about him.
Well, guys, let's do what we can. Priscilla's been extremely vulnerable with us today, and I appreciate that. Let's team around her. Let's break the ice and have some comments. And the fact I'm not in the midst of a relational challenge, I mean, to an extent at the moment, doesn't mean like this isn't, resonating with others that are going through the same things. And through unification and everyone kind of opening up, obviously we can have, like, miracles can take place, and we can show up for each other in ways that's gonna, it's just out of love, just like we were saying about these little ones, where we fulfill kind of the lessons to be learned. And I hope with Unmuzzled Chat here we can create that community. And
And even if
have
anybody has any advice, something that's like worked for them.
tools.
Tools, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think if somebody's been through it and something has really helped, that could be helpful too. I'm trying everything
Do
I
you
can.
journal?
I do journal.
Do you have a good journal?
Um,
Is it just a notepad?
it's got a leather bound and a leather rose etched to it, like it's a floral kind of thing.
Okay.
And then I have some that are my favorite color. That I like things that are turquoise or teal. So that
beautiful.
Even though they're not intricate, just the color makes me happy. So yeah, I do a lot of brain dumps, and I used to write poetry. I don't.
If you
anymore.
need one, Unmuzzled Chat right here, right now would be happy to give you one.
Cool.
Would you like one?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
always down for paper.
This, in fact,
oh, nice,
is exactly day. And it says, let's go ahead and open this thing up. It says strong.
Oh, nice.
Right here on the cover.
I sent you a picture of that earlier about the strong over the toilet.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you can't even make these things up. But it's got kind of a half face or a face of a lion here, strong, right? Well, pretty cool imagery, but more important than that I like, so this is the one I personally use, the way it can just flip over. You can use both sides of these pages. But there is oh heavens, this light. There's a biblical verse at the bottom of every
nice.
page.
You should read the one that the universe decided you to point to. Be
strong and courageous. The Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Josh 1:9.
That's the whole tone of today's conversation has been like strong.
Come on.
And then you had that other page from the 28th.
And not every one of these is about, strong right here. Depend on the Lord and whatever you do and your plans will succeed, so it's more potentially in a business sense. But often I'll find myself journaling, almost being in this emotional state, and then that bottom verse will hit home and resonate on a level that just, you lose it. You can't make that kind of stuff up.
No.
And oh my gosh, like, I'm excited to see your growth. I'm excited to have you back, communicate even more. You could give more tools too, but just like Priscilla said here, I mean, let's these are just things that I found effective. And what's crazy, like, that might just be effective for me now, right?
Yeah.
The pursuit of, you know, constantly seeking and refining it all, like that's fulfilling the very purpose as to why we're here, right? But
Self-actualization is the key, right?
mm,
Yeah.
yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah. Hi. Well, any other burning desires, any other things to touch on? I think this is,
I do have a burning desire.
oh my gosh, we'd love to hear it.
Um, I think it's very important to, it's a question that I ask myself often because I've lost sight of it in the past year and a half. It's what makes you happy, and and
Mm,
identifying what that can be. For me, sometimes it's like sparkling wine or a chocolate or some ice cream or anything to do with my dog, but try to like set that intention every day, like a desire to like work towards I'm going to get that today, because it counts, right? So the world is heavy and evil and dark right now. And
mm-hmm.
so just doing like one little thing for yourself, it's almost like that TED talk, like make your bed. I would say like have that chocolate, kind of thing. Just do one thing a day that truly makes you happy. And it seems to be like helping me because it's very easy to get caught in and stay in the storm.
Wow. Wisdom.
Yeah.
That very wise. My goodness, once again, that's that's hitting on a note of like you can't make these things up. Like I love here on a muzzle we try to do calls to action. You just gave an amazing call to action. Just for people to be aware and conscious and what was the word? Intentional,
Mm-hmm.
right? Wow. I need to pull out my journal right now. That's what a blessing. What a blessing you even been to me.
Oh, thanks.
You're so gracious for your time. Thank you
Thank
so
you for
much.
having me and the pup who's
Are you kidding me?
he
Thank you. He's the star of the episode, no doubt.
he's we'll be working this weekend on our costume shenanigans for his Instagram.
Oh, cool. If we could get pictures and somehow even attach them to things that would be fun and festive thing to do cuz I've been too busy to do anything along those lines this year.
Yeah. Yeah, or last year's performance, he was Goose and Maverick, so he was my wingman for Top Gun.
Mm,
But this year it'll be Little Red Riding Hood and the Big Bad Wolf. But who knows? I think he already looks a little bit like a wolf, so I think it'll be
that's
fun.
cute.
Yeah. Right, little guy? He's just like, I just want to play outside. Which I think we can learn from dogs too, is just like go outside and kind of get grounded.
Ooh, 100%.
Yeah.
Get some sunlight, some vitamin D.
Some
Like,
walking, some
oof.
air.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm. I think there's a reason as to a strategy that was implemented here recently in the past as to why that was even demonized. Stay at home, lock yourself in the closet. Fear, fear, fear. Things that aren't actually good for you.
Yeah, sun is good for you.
Right.
Sun is good.
It is. Well, thank you so much for your time today, guys. Thank you so much for joining. God bless and have a wonderful weekend. Be safe out there.
Bye, guys.
Bye.